Hello, welcome to Jason the Old Millennial. My name is Jason, speaking to you here in my bedroom in the great state of Kansas. And today I finally am getting around to doing my top 10 favorite movies of the year. I know I'm a little bit late. We're like halfway through this month of January. Most people get done by the end of December. I was trying to get to 50 movies. That's what I did last year. And so I was trying to get around 50 movies watched and reviewed on my Letterboxd app, and I can easily pick it from that. Anyways, but I've got to about 45 movies that I've reviewed on Letterboxd app, and I've gotten far enough that I thought, well, I really want to get a top 10 best and worst out before I get too far into this month. Anyway, so I'll just do it now. It's hard because there's still movies I need to see this year to might change my top tens. Who knows? But I've seen 45 movies. That's enough for me, I think. To And I've seen kind of most of the big movies that came out. That's what I try to do. See the big ones that I think will be good. Um, I haven't seen all of F1. I've seen like an hour of F1 so far, and I don't think that will make my top 10 list. It's an okay movie so far, but I don't know if it's gonna make it in there. I've seen about 30 minutes of Nuremberg. It seems okay so far. I don't know that it'll make it in there. I really want to go out and see Song Sung Blue, but I haven't seen that yet. And I haven't seen Marty Supreme yet. That's another one that I've been wanting to see. So there are some movies missing from my list. Anyways, and just say I kind of made it this thing. I kind of started this last year. It's been my thing this year. Is that I really want to concentrate on movies that come out in the theater near me, have a wide release, movies that people would actually go out and see, maybe. Um, and I kind of went away from streaming movies. I'm not reviewing streaming movies because I feel like streaming movies, it's a limited audience because it's only people who have that subscription to, and they don't usually make physical releases, physical media, Blu-rays and stuff like that. A lot of times is the stuff that comes out in streaming, which I really hate. So it seems like it's hard for people to see all these streaming movies because you have to have a subscription to that, and there's just a million streaming services now, so it's hard to get to all the movies that stream, and they come out so fast, and you just don't even. You're like, oh, all of a sudden there's a streaming movie on whatever Netflix, and you go, oh, there's a bazillion of them come out. It seems like every year, and so I don't know. I just want to concentrate on the movies that came out in the theaters, that got wide releases, and that were kind of well known, I guess. And I kind of went away from doing more obscure movies like some of the other YouTubers do. Anyway, so that's kind of where I'm coming from on my list as well. Yeah, so saying all that, I guess we get to my top 10 favorite movies of the year. At number 10, we got Fackham Hall. A very hard movie to pronounce. Fackham Hall. And the whole point is that it's supposed to sound like a curse word. F them all is what it's supposed to sound like when you say it fast. And this is obviously a comedy that came out this year. And it's a spoof parody comedy, which I love spoof movies and parody movies. They're kind of some of my favorite comedies and from the past and so forth. And I don't know if we get as many good spoof movies recently. It's harder and harder to get a good spoof movie like this. I know they're coming out with another scary movie, I think, this year, which is a parody of horror movies, and those have been pretty bad. And then they did a lot of these like epic movie and date night not date movie, and those are really bad. So they've been really really bad spoof movies. It's really hard to get a good one. It feels like I haven't seen a good one in a while. This one was actually very good. It's a spoof of, I think it's a mix, to me it was a mixture of Downton Abbey and Gosford Park. Um, and I've never seen Downton Abbey, but it looks kind of like a Downton Abbey kind of spoof. It's supposed to be kind of making fun of these really rich English people that live in these big manors, and this one's called Fackham Hall is the name of the manor. That's why the name of the movie. And the Devonports are the rich family that own this. And it's kind of about their lives, I guess, and kind of making fun of those tropes of those kind of movie or shows and movies like that. And of course, like the daughter's gonna get married, and they want her to marry a cousin, so the family name, so they will inherit like the Fackham Hall and they'll stay in the family. I don't know. It's this whole thing. The second part of the second half of the movie, someone gets killed, and the second half turns into more of a murder mystery movie. That's why I said Gosford Park has that same thing where someone gets murdered and they're trying to figure out. But it has a whole class system. You got the rich people that are always having these rich parties and they're out hunting. They're wearing really fancy clothes, and then they have their servants and their butlers and their maids, and you see that side where they're just hard workers and they do everything for them anyway. So it's kind of make fun of that class system that they had, back in the day, whatever, this Victorian, not Victorian age maybe, but Elizabeth, I don't know what age you want to call it, maybe World War II kind of era, 1940s era type of English society. Anyways, so it's kind of funny how it's making fun of English society a little bit. I'm curious if anybody from England seen this movie and how it kind of makes fun of England a little bit, maybe. But I think it's overall a pretty clever spoof of the that genre, I guess you can say. That I've never seen anybody spoof that genre either, and I think they did overall a very good job. There's a lot of clever. It's spoof movies. There's just tons of jokes all the time, and they're very silly jokes a lot of times, but they do hit you with some very clever stuff. Like they'll start a joke, and you try and figure out, okay, what's the punchline of this scene of the joke that they're trying to tell, and then they hit you where you didn't expect it. And I kind of love that about the movie. Is something will happen, you go, oh, I didn't expect that to be the joke. That's very clever, very funny. I really enjoy how they do that. So yeah, if you like good spoof comedy movies, Fackham Hall, definitely check it out. Uh, Much better than I even expected, even though I thought the trailer looked funny. You never know. And I think a million times better than Naked Gun. I thought Naked Gun was a terrible spoof comedy this year. All that is because of Liam Neeson. I thought was just terrible and trying to be in the lead role. And here we have Damian Lewis kind of playing one of the main roles as the patriarch of the Davenports, whatever. And he's a good actor who's known for, I think, mostly serious performances. And here is a whole comedic performance, and he does a very good job. So this is kind of where I can compare. Like Liam Neeson, I thought did terrible in Naked Gun. Damian Lewis did great in Fackham Hall. So it does make a difference who you cast in those roles. And I think Naked Gun, the biggest problem was casting Liam Neeson, who's a very good actor, but just not good at comedy anyway. So I have to make that comparison. Fackham Hall, great comedy spoof. Naked Gun, the new one this year, not a good comedy spoof. So yeah, number 10, Fackham Hall. Number 9 is going to be a bit of a surprise. I feel like I'm the few person that really liked this movie, and that's Captain America: Brave New World. That's yeah, mostly did not get good reviews. I've heard a lot of people talk about this movie. It's not in any top tens I think I've ever seen. I don't know. So this is just one of those things where I don't know. I was pleasantly almost kind of surprised. I wasn't expecting much out of this movie. It's weird because we're moving from Steve Rogers, Captain America, to I forget his name, Sam, Falcon. Played by Anthony Mackie. Him taking over the Captain America role, which still doesn't make any sense to me. Why we need somebody to take over the role? I feel like Captain America was Steve Rogers, and once he died and he stopped being Captain America, I feel like Captain America should retire as a superhero. So I don't even care that much about it. Like, oh, someone else has to be Captain America now. It's weird because Falcon's already superhero. He's Falcon. He doesn't need to be Captain America. He already has not superpowers, but he already has, the technology and everything, and flies and all that, and fights crime the way he wants to, whatever, work for the U.S. government or whatever. I'll say I did watch let's see, Falcon and Winter Soldier, and I thought that was a terrible TV show. It all was concentrated on race politics, which I absolutely hate movies and TV shows that are about race politics. It's so annoying, and it was really a terrible show. Should have been much better of a show. So didn't know what I was going to expect out of this, but it ended up being actually a very good action movie and a very good, like, almost conspiracy theory, like, thriller movie as well. And overall, I thought the plot was very interesting. There's a mystery throughout the movie, like what's going on, who's behind it, and all this almost maturing candidate almost type of storyline. I thought it really worked for the movie. And I really liked the villain and the actor played the villain in this movie. And I love that he was a villain that was in, well, I'll just say he's the villain that appears shortly in The Incredible Hulk a long time ago, like 20 years ago or something like that. And we never heard of that character since. And then I love that they brought him back for this movie, made him the villain. I've been waiting for this character to come back. So I thought that was great. I love the actor that plays him. Um, Anyways, I actually thought Harrison Ford was good as the president, taking over that role. And again, this is somewhat uh, it should be kind of well known if you've seen the trailer. So I don't think I'm revealing too much to say that he turns into the Red Hulk at the end of the movie, and there's a big fight scene between the Red Hulk and Captain America slash Falcon. And I actually thought it was a really good scene. And you think, how can the Hulk, who's huge and strong, who's unbeatable almost, how can Falcon or Captain America Falcon, whatever, go head to head with them? And it's because he has Wakanda technology. So I think they actually explained it pretty well that because of the Wakanda technology that he has gotten, he's able to take the blows from the Red Hulk. Anyways, but I thought that last fight scene actually was really good, exciting. I don't know. I was in the movie the whole time. I was never bored. Into the storyline, into the action scene. I don't know. I had a lot of fun time with this. So surprisingly, it is number 9 on my list. Number 8 on my list is Sinners. Sinners, not a movie that usually would make my list of top tens. Uh, and I wasn't really expecting to watch this movie because when I saw the trailer, of course, it seemed like I saw a trailer a long time ago. And all I knew was like, okay, it's a vampire horror movie with Michael B. Jordan, and they're these vampire, and it's like a period piece movie. I don't know if it's 1930s or something, whatever, and in the South, and these vampires are attacking black people in this black club, whatever, in that time period. Um, and that was the whole premise of it. And of course, I thought, well, it's probably gonna be a horror movie. I'm not a horror movie guy, so I just didn't think I was gonna watch it. But I heard so much good stuff about it, so much good buzz over this movie that I finally was like, okay, I'll try it out. And the thing was, it wasn't that bad of a horror movie, really. It was more because most of the movie is not about the vampires. It feels like it's just about Michael B. Jordan, who plays twin brothers. He plays both parts, Smoke and Stack. And it's about them coming back to the South and kind of starting up this business, this building this club, whatever, this, what do you call it, juke joint, whatever. And, for like black people to play blues music and to dance and drink and, have fun and all that. And so they're starting this business. They have like this gangster background from Chicago, and they're kind of coming back and trying to recruit people to help out. Anyways, so it's that for the first like almost hour of the movie, and then the vampire stuff comes in, and that becomes the big conflict of the movie, and that becomes very interesting. What happens there? Though the vampires are there and they kill people and they do all kinds of stuff, yeah, I say it's not very horrorish. It's more of a thriller suspense movie overall, and I thought it really worked well. And I think a lot of that is because of Ryan Coogler, the director. I think he's one of the best directors today, and I'm always interested when he makes a movie because he does such a great job. I think he's, yeah, like I said, maybe the best direction I've seen the whole year. It was directed so well. The cinematography is really great. The music is really great. And I'm not a blues fan, but yet when they played blues music and they had those dancing scenes and whatever, I thought, wow, the music's really good. Even the vampires have some singing. They sing some like Irish songs or something because the vampire is an Irish vampire, and those that music was pretty good too. I thought all the singing was really good, musically, everything. So um, yeah, it was just shot very well. The acting was really good. I think Michael B. Jordan, one of my favorite actors today, great job. Haley Steinfeld's in here, and she does a great job as well. And a lot of the supporting actors that appear very good. The vampire, the main villain vampire, really good job. Very menacing kind of villain. And yeah, when towards the end of the movie, when the vampires finally attack the place, and all hell breaks loose. That was such an exciting scene. I did love that when all of a sudden, you get that always get that scene where now they gotta try to stab them in the heart with their, they make stakes, and they have to figure out ways to kill the vampires because they're kind of immortal. That was all great and fun, and got a lot of bloody action in there. Yeah, and even the ending was kind of interesting. Didn't go the way I expected to, but was very interesting way to end the movie. Anyways, overall, it's not my type of movie. That's why it's not higher on, though it is in my top 10 at number 8. It's higher for most people, and I think it's not higher for me only because it's not my style of movie normally. I'm not normally into like vampire movies and stuff, but the movie was so well done that it still makes it in there. That just shows you how good of a director I think Ron Coogler is. So, yep, Sinners are number 8. All right, number 7, we got Warfare. Warfare. I'm happy to say that I've seen a lot of people put this in their top tens, and I'm really happy to see that. I'm not the only one that really enjoyed this movie. I saw this in the movie theater with a friend of mine who was in the military, or who used to be in the military. So it's very interesting having conversations with him about the movie because it's kind of more about modern warfare and over in the Middle East dealing with Muslim terrorists. And it's a true story movie where these military unit is kind of watching this area, the street area for terrorist activity, I guess. And you can see something's going to go down, and so but they decided they need to get out of there before they get attacked. But it's too late. As they're trying to escape, basically a bomb explodes and it kills some, maims some, definitely gives a lot of PTSD to the injures a lot of the troops. So they have to call them back up, and it's really just a survival movie. It's them like hauled up into one house, and they're surrounded by Muslim terrorists trying to kill them, and they're just trying to survive this and get another unit in to help them and another tank in that they can put people in to get them the heck out of there. And so that's the whole movie. It's interesting because the movie is not really heavy on plot, not heavy on character development or anything like that. And I think that's why it's not higher on my list, just because it misses some of those things that I would really like in movies. I like a little more of a 3-act structure, character development. Like I said, more plot would be interesting. Uh, but I think this movie does so well. Besides the fact that it is hard to watch because it does look very real. I mean, the injuries are gross and they're hard to look at, and the idea that these were real people that they're portraying, and just how sad that is that happens to our troops. Um, but I think the most interesting thing this movie did to me is made me think more about why we were over there and what did we accomplish. And you think when you watch this movie, you go, we probably didn't need to be over there. We didn't really accomplish anything except that we killed a lot of our own, troops and maimed and we just ruined a lot of lives. And because the whole movie, it's like all they were doing was watching the street, giving, I guess, information to military base about what was going on in this area. And that was it. They didn't really accomplish anything besides that. And then as they're trying to escape, a lot of them got killed and all that. So you just go, gosh, it felt like a waste of people, didn't really do anything. And it makes you think a lot about, at least for me, it made me think a lot about, gosh, I really don't want to send troops over anywhere overseas anymore if we don't really have to. We probably don't have to most of the time. It doesn't really do anything. It just kills our people, our troops, that are, that are risking their lives for this. For what? What did we do? There's still Muslim terrorists over there. It's never going to be different over there. It's going to be always bad, and we can't change it anyway. So, man, it makes you think, gosh, I wish we never went over there, never sent troops over there. And it makes you think of future, as there's so many things going on in the world right now, different wars going on and all that. And the United States is always kind of involved in everything because we're the major power in the world. And you just think, gosh, I just don't want any more troops sent over anywhere. Just bomb the heck out of people, but don't send troops. That's the way I think now. And I didn't used to think that way. I used to think, yeah, send troops. Try to democratize, these other countries. And now I'm thinking, no, just bomb them, leave them alone, but don't send our troops there. Anyways, that's why I put this at number 7. Is just it really made me think more than about most any other movie this year or of 2025. So that's Warfare at number 7 on my list. All right, something a little more fun. Number 6, I have Zootopia 2. I had a fun time with this. I saw it with my sister and my niece. We all went together, so that was fun. That was the only time I went with other people I usually always just go by myself. I think the only times I went with somebody was Warfare. Like I said, I went with a friend, and then Zootopia 2, I went with my two members of my family. And I'm a huge fan of Zootopia. The first one is one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. So I was very excited to see this and hoping it wasn't going to be disappointing. And I would say, so overall, it was a good sequel. Still very fun. I love this world, the Zootopia world, Zootropolis, whatever. I love the world building, and this kind of goes more into the history of Zootropolis and about the reptiles, because there's no reptiles in Zootopia, because they get in the whole backstory of why that is. So I like that. I like all that world building part of the story and the different. I love seeing the different animals and how they have human characteristics, but yet still they have their animal characteristics as well, and how they kind of live and work, and how society kind of goes about with animals. I do love all that. Of course, the two main characters are so good. Wild and Hops. Wild, I believe his name is the fox, and Hops is the bunny. They are great together. This one, they're more friends. The first one, they're kind of like they didn't like each other, but then they become friends at the end. This one is definitely about their friendship and how good it is. So I do like the friendship they have between each other. That's really nice to see. Plot was fine. It was decent. It seemed somewhat similar to the first one, but it was very funny. There's some really good scenes. There's some good Easter eggs if you're a Disney fan. I did like that a lot. What they did with that. It's overall very funny. I don't think it was as funny as the first movie, and I don't think the plot was as good as the first movie, and the music wasn't as good and all that. But still, it was a solid sequel to a great movie. And overall, I had really fun with it, and it's made a lot of money, so glad to see that. So number 6 has Zootopia 2.